Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Tuesday, May the 3rd. News this morning at the Capitol was that the State Education Department, one of the biggest in state government, was held up in Joint Budget Committee this morning because Senators Joyce Elliott and Linda Chesterfield were not happy that Education Commissioner Johnny Key had refused to talk to them about the Little Rock school situation. Johnny Key fired Baker Curris as Little Rock superintendent, gave no good reason for doing so. It became very clear he did so because Curris thinks that the proliferation of charter schools in Little Rock is bad for the Little Rock School District. Johnny Key loves charter schools because he's beholden to the Walton Family Foundation, which is pushing the charter school agenda in Arkansas. So far, he hadn't talked, so Elliott and Chesterfield say they won't let the budget go through. They're going to try to meet again this afternoon. Something may happen. Joyce Elliott had Baker Curris into a session at the Capitol yesterday that Johnny Key couldn't make his way to either, in which a lot of people defended the district, defended Curris. Curris himself spoke, took his usual high road approach, but when he was asked about whether he would take a role in the district in the future, he said, well, it depended. It was hard to unring the bell of his firing. And also he said, why would you want to work for a place that didn't want you? I think this put pretty neatly the lie that's been coming out from Johnny Key's defenders that somehow charter schools didn't have anything to do with it. They had everything to do with it. Another day to be bad to be poor in Arkansas as usual. The legislature today approved a measure that's going to try and make it harder for the poor people on cash assistance to spend that money on some needs in their family that aren't specifically outlined according to the wishes of a Republican legislator, Jim Dotson from Northwest Arkansas, who thinks he knows better how people should spend the $200 they get for their families in desperate situations. Also, Legal Aid of Arkansas has sued the state of Arkansas for arbitrarily cutting services to disabled people who use home care to stay at home rather than go in nursing homes. They say there's been no good reason given for the deduction of these services will end up costing the state money by forcing people into more expensive nursing homes. Small piece of good news out of the Capitol. Little Rock legislators did force a compromise at Capitol Zoning Commission, which tries to preserve the historic nature of the downtown neighborhoods around the Capitol, and the governor's mansion will be allowed to continue to exist, although a new appeals process will be allowed on agency decisions. Some people aren't happy when their requests to do things downtown are denied because they don't meet historical standards. Elsewhere around town, we had interesting news that in the filing of campaign reports for judicial candidates, Courtney Goodson, who lost her race for Arkansas Supreme Court Justice, ended up in the hole $660,000. That was her own money that she loaned the campaign in spending $1 million, but lost anyway to Dan Kemp. He raised about the same amount of money that she did, just under $400,000, but he benefited from a dark money campaign. Sean Womack, who also had a benefit of anonymous dark money, won his race after spending slightly more than Clark Mason. Interesting reading on the Arkansas blog today. Take a look at arkansasblog.com. Some great reporting from a Canadian blog that's interested in climate change about a proposal led by Wesley Clark, the former NATO general, and Rodney Slater, former highway commissioner and transportation secretary, to build a plant in Pine Bluff that will convert gas to liquid fuel. Incredible number of political connections in this, including U.S. Representative French Hill, former Bush White House insider Andrew Card, French Hill's wife, Martha Hill, who's a lobbyist in the campaign, ties to a bank in Pine Bluff that's very powerful in the community and whose CEO chairs a committee that pushed $4 million in benefits to this company. Arkansas is a small, wonderful state where everybody seems to know everybody, and it always helps if you know somebody who have a little bit of money. There is that too. Good reading too on the Arkansas blog, and a great slideshow from Richard Mays, a Heber Springs environmental lawyer. He's raising the alarms about a pretty solid finding from an Oklahoma State University researcher that hog waste may be leaking out of that hog farm in the Buffalo River watershed near Mount Judy, could be contaminating the groundwater. More study is certainly needed. He wants the Arkansas Pollution Control Commission to act to try and stop the farm from operating until we know more. The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality is a paper tiger, hasn't done anything about it. He's trying to get somebody to get motivated to do something. And finally, one little piece of good news. It looks like by a court decision yesterday that it is finally over. Little Rock has lost for once and for all, at least for this year, its effort to send taxpayer money to the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce, which uses that money to lobby against the interest of everyday taxpayers and for the big business agenda. A citizens lawsuit put an end to that. The Chamber of Commerce hopes that a ballot initiative in November will change the law again and allow private corporations like the Chamber to receive taxpayer money. It'll be too bad if that happens, but we love corporate welfare in Arkansas. We'll send $100 million, as we did last week, to communist Chinese to build a pulp mill in Arkadelphia, but we won't let poor people keep all the $200 they get when they're in desperate circumstances. That's Arkansas. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.